What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy, Domuto. We back with another video today. We're watching JxmyHighroller. They say they were the greatest team of all time. Did they lie? I don't know. I'm assuming he's talking about the USA team we got right now. They about to be, well, they're in Paris now. The Olympics have started already. So hopefully we get gold this year, man. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be the best team every year. And we're supposed to get gold every year. You know, the only team that worries me, Team Canada. That Canada team, crazy. You got Shea, I think Jamal Murray. You got a lot of niggas on that team, I think. Lou Dortch, Brooks, Dwight Powell, like players that actually play the NBA and play against these guys. Like, people like, oh, well, they're not that talented. Like, nah. Them niggas can get to like a team like that can get to a high shooting streak and like don't miss against Team USA, and they know, and they played against Team USA, most of those players, so they know how to, you know what I'm saying, and that team got some good defenders on there, like they can actually win. So anyway, let's get into it, man. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe as well.
Check this out. You see that score? USA versus Germany. Germany is up 82-81 with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The game should have never been this close, but it is. In fact, it's been a close contest since the opening tip. Both teams going bucket for bucket, neither of them really able to pull away. Someone is going to have to step up and take control of this game if they want to win. And of all the players on this court, of all the talent, the greatest shooter of all time, a former MVP, the future of USA basketball, it is none other than all reliable 39-year-old LeBron James, who completely takes over this game.
Finds James, knifing through with the left hand. Outside, nice run here and save by James.
Well, LeBron got the most experience on Team USA, so
trying to answer the tie-in. James another rebound to do so this coming weekend.
I respect LeBron, bro. I do respect.
No, James another board and a foul, which will send him to the line. Look at this bench reacts. LeBron James open for three. LeBron James bodying inside his line.
And now they got KD playing.
Goodness, does he take over? You have a right to do.
With the game on the line and 4 minutes left in the fourth, LeBron turned back the clock and completely...
Look, I was having this thought a few days ago. Like, I feel like it's time for LeBron to retire. Cause I feel like the NBA won't move on. But if he's still doing this shit, like, it's tough to, like, damn, tell a nigga to retire. But he's still hooping like this, like, at 40. At 40. I feel like I feel like the NBA won't prosper until LeBron leaves. Then we can really look, okay, who's next? But since LeBron's still here, and he's still doing this great thing, I don't think he's the best player in the league right now. No, I think he's not top 5, maybe top 10 or something like that, top 15. But when he's still doing this, it's hard to tell a nigga like, damn, retire. But he's not. He's still good. Like, damn. But, all right.
He put Team USA on his back, scoring their final 11 points and single-handedly outscoring Germany. The Young Bucks are loving it. These performances should have came to an end years ago. And yet here we are, 22 years in, and the old geezer still got it.
Old geezer.
But wait a minute. This is the best basketball team on the planet. Some have even called this roster the best team of all time. But if that's the case, then why out of all of these players does it take a 39-year-old LeBron going ballistic in the final minutes to win a game by single digits? Their previous game against South Sudan was a similar story, with the go-ahead basket by LeBron being the only thing separating the US from a loss. A couple months back, when this team was first announced, they were immediately hailed as one of, if not the greatest team ever assembled. However, through 5 exhibition games, 3 of which were won by 6 points or less, the title of greatest team ever seems to have been given out a bit prematurely. Is this team truly the best team we've ever seen? On paper, they have all the credentials to fit the bill, but on the court, they aren't nearly as dominant as some teams from the past.
They still dominant now.
Today, I've teamed up with DraftKings, the one-stop shop for all. You will also earn your reports surfaced that LeBron James was summer after a 4th place finish in the prizes, only on DraftKings. Last summer, after a 4th place finish in the FIBA Basketball World Cup,
Look, Cameron
reports
Johnson on the
surfaced
team.
that
Like, of
LeBron
course,
James
that
was
nigga's lost.
recruiting players from around the league
like
to
Cameron
suit up for
Johnson.
the U.S. men's national team for the 2024 Olympics, reaching out to teammates, friends, foes, all to better their odds of defeating a common enemy: everyone else. And although fun to imagine, the team he was attempting to put together seemed like a classic case of too good to be true. Except it actually happened. A 12-man roster that some are saying is the greatest basketball team of all time. LeBron, Durant, Curry, Embiid, Tatum, AD, Booker, Kawhi,
I don't
who
think
has
Kerr
since
should be
been
coaching.
replaced by Derek White, Edwards.
I don't think Kerr should be coaching, bro. Kerr, I feel like with this, it is exposed with so many close games and like so many rotation mess ups. I mean, of course, those games were the preliminary, so we're gonna see how they really do. I heard they won their first 2 games, right, in the actual Olympics. So I feel like Kerr don't know how to rotate. Like, y'all gotta remember this. Kerr came into a good ass situation with the Warriors where they was already pretty much established. You know what I'm saying? And like they just, all that he did was probably just double down on the shooting. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But this is a different beast. Like, why is Joel Embiid still starting over Anthony Davis? You know what I'm saying? Get that nigga off the bench. He's still playing bad from what I'm hearing and seeing. So, anyway.
Halliburton, Holiday, and Bam. One of the most loaded teams in the history of basketball.
He forgot to play
And
Tatum.
yet, 5 exhibition games into this
He don't
year's
play
Summer
Halliburton.
Olympics,
I
and
mean,
this team
I heard
has
Halliburton
just
sucked at
barely
it.
escaped with a
But
win
Tatum,
on
come on
multiple
now.
occasions. Nowhere near some of the colossal blowouts we have seen Team USA put down in the past. Which begs the question, is this actually the greatest team of all time? Greater than the 1992 Dream Team? A group of players that won games by a record-shattering margin and took basketball to a global scale. Are they greater than the Redeem Team? Or even the US Olympic team in 2012, led by Kobe and a prime LeBron and Durant? Well, it all depends
Names
on how you
do
want
not
to
mean
define
you're better.
greatness. Are we talking
the
about a
team
team
plays
with the
better
best
together,
collection of
it
talent?
doesn't mean
Or is greatness defined by how good they are as a collective
means
unit?
it's a
And
better
since the
team.
2024 US men's Olympic team has yet to play a single non-exhibition game together, I assume we are referring to option number 1. In terms of major career accomplishments, such as MVPs, championships, All-NBA teams, the key milestones that we use to measure how great individual players are, here is how the 2024 US men's Olympic roster stacks up against some of the greatest teams of the past. Now, it's important to note that I only took into consideration the accolades these players earned leading up to the time of the Olympics. So, for example, although Michael Jordan won 6 titles and 5 MVPs by the end of his career, I only included the 2 titles and 3 MVPs he won heading into the 92 Olympics. This is only fair since players on the 2024 roster have yet to finish their careers and still have time to pile up more accolades. So this is a snapshot of how accomplished these teams were at the time of their formation. And when ranked against the most accomplished teams, you could make an argument that this 2024 team is the greatest of all time, just slightly edging out the US men's team in 1992 and in 96. Oddly enough, the 96 US men's Olympic team was more accomplished at the time of their formation than the 92 Dream Team was. But overall, this year's team is arguably the greatest team in terms of their basketball resumes. But that might be due to the fact that this year's US Olympic team is old. By the 92 Olympics, Larry Bird had already played his last NBA season. His back was completely toast, and he was the oldest player on the team by a considerable margin. He was 35, which means right now, Stephen Curry is older than Bird was during the 92 Olympics. In fact, Devin Booker has already been in the league longer than most of the players on that 1992 Dream Team. So although this 2024 team has the advantage of experience and longevity, the team in 92 got many of their players during the peak of their careers. So what if instead of accolades and accomplishments, we looked at how good these players were individually at the time of the team's formation? Here is a chart of the 2024 US men's Olympic basketball roster and their production and efficiency from this past season, with box plus minus on the y-axis and win shares per 48 on the x-axis. Now, a few things jump out here. Tyrese Halliburton has been considered one of the weaker links on this roster, but he was actually one of the better players on this team throughout the regular season. LeBron James is really old and still really good, and Joel Embiid's spot is a quick reminder that if it weren't for a season-ending injury this past year, the man might be a back-to-back MVP right now. And now for some context, here is the 2012 US Olympic team and their advanced numbers in the season leading up to the Olympics. LeBron was the best player on this team, followed by Chris Paul and Kevin Durant. They also had a veteran Kobe Bryant and Olympic Melo. And statistically, you can make an argument that the individual players on this team were better than the players on the 2024 team. The 2008 Redeem team was relatively young and inexperienced in the international realm, with LeBron James leading the way coming off of his 5th season in the league, a young Chris Paul entering his prime, and MVP Kobe Bryant. But overall, this team probably wasn't as good as the US roster this year. 1996, however, is one of the more underrated teams ever assembled, with a ton of 90s greats like Pippen, Gary Payton, Reggie Miller, and of course, the greatest frontcourt lineup the world has ever seen. Featuring David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Karl Malone. This team was experienced. They were all still in their prime, and as a whole, they were better than this year's team. Which leads us to the 1992 Dream Team, who are still on a completely different level from any other team before and since their inception. Because here's Michael Jordan, here's David Robinson, Magic Johnson, Drexler, Stockton, Barkley, and the rest of the team. And now we have a better picture of just how good this 92 Dream Team was. The 1992 US Men's Olympic team was so good that Anthony Edwards in 2024 was statistically worse than every single player on the 92 Dream Team outside of Christian Laettner, who hadn't even played a single minute in the NBA up to that point. Now, you may be thinking that these stats of the players in 1992 might just be inflated or possibly a miscalculation. How is there so many all-time great players at their peak in the NBA in 92? And where are all of these players today? Well, they're playing for other countries. Because here's Nikola Jokic, here's Luka Doncic, here's Giannis, and here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So in terms of individual dominance, the 92 Dream Team would be like having this 2024 roster without some of their relatively weaker links and the addition of Luka, Jokic, Giannis, and SGA. That is how good the Dream Team was. And I don't know if we will ever see one single team as good as this 1992 US Men's Olympic team was ever again. In 1992, basketball was a sport dominated almost exclusively by American players. The NBA, and by default the entire world, revolved around players from the US. There was, of course, exceptions to this. Among the elite foreign players of the early 90s were Nigerian-born Hakeem Olajuwon, who ended up playing for Team USA, Patrick Ewing from Jamaica, who also ended up playing for Team USA, Detlef Schrempf from Germany, and Croatian legend Dražan Petrovic. But that was about it. The NBA had yet to really pursue basketball on a global scale. The two international teams that were eventually added to the league wouldn't make their debut until 1995. 95% of all NBA prospects were...
I will say this though, for the people like that were born in other countries but still like prefer to play with Team USA, I don't know how I feel. Like do what you want. Like I'm not like, if you want to play for us, then fuck it, we play for us then. But me personally, I would rather play for my country. Like, imagine winning gold for your country. Like, I feel like that's just the country I was born in. Like, if you were born there and shit, like, I would much rather play for them. Now, if I was born in America, just having to be fucking from Cameroon, but I was born in America, then whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if I was just born in Cameroon or something like that, and I just was like, man, I want beating Team USA would be like so great for the country, like, you know what I'm saying, winning gold or winning any medal, even bronze and silver, like for your country, that's fire. But I get it. Like, I'm not about to downplay. Like, I'm not about to be like, oh, well, Joel Embiid, you know, nah, do what you want to do. But I'm just saying.
Or American-born or attending U.S. universities. But as Steve Kerr said after Team USA's loss in last year's FIBA World Cup, this isn't 1992 anymore. Over the last 32 years, the number of foreign-born NBA players has skyrocketed. From 21 foreign-born players, just 5% of all active players in the league in 1992, to 125 foreign-born players throughout the league in 2024, representing nearly a quarter of all active players. Today, when players join international competition, more often than not, they're just playing their NBA teammates in these tournaments.
That's true.
It's a bunch of NBA guys versus a bunch of NBA guys. The 92 Dream Team was and still is the greatest team ever assembled because they were a collection of the best basketball players, not just in the US, but in the entire world at the time. Outside of Hakeem, who was arguably not as good as Ewing or Robinson in 1992, and Isaiah Thomas, who was unjustly snubbed from this team, they couldn't have gotten any better. Now, in the case of this 2024 team, they're great, but they aren't nearly the best possible iteration of what the greatest collection of talent in the entire world would look like today. So not only was the Dream Team the greatest collection of talent in the history of basketball, nearly all of the players on the Dream Team were at the peak of their powers, but they were also eviscerating teams. More legendary than this 92 roster and the dominance of their individual players, the Dream Team was crushing their opponents. In Game 1 of group play, the Dream Team scored 116 points while holding their opponent to just 48. In the semifinals, the Dream Team beat a really good Lithuania team by 51 points. If you want to know just how outmatched these countries were, look no further than the guy who just threw in the towel and just started snapping pictures of the Dream Team while the game was still going on. And in the gold medal game against a loaded Croatia team featuring 6 NBA players, the Dream Team won by 33 points. Look at this play right here. Gold medal game, the pride of an entire country on the line. Barkley hits Leitner for a 3 and calls it good before he even puts up the shot. These games were never close. In fact, this team wasn't even fair. During the 92 Olympics, the Dream Team had an average margin of victory of nearly 44 points, the largest margin of victory of any men's team at any professional level, and twice the margin Team USA put up in the 2016 and 2020 Olympics. Their average margin of victory this summer has been just 10 points. Granted, they are still making tweaks to their lineups and experimenting with different game plans, so this number will likely change over the course of the Olympics. But through 5 exhibition games, they aren't winning in nearly the same blowout fashion we saw in the past. And this level of dominance that we saw from the Dream Team, the USA men's team in '96, 2008, and even 2012, will more than likely never happen again. In 1992, excluding the US team, the 11 teams that played in the Olympic basketball tournament featured 18 players that were active in the NBA or were in the NBA at one point in their career. In this year's Summer Olympics, the 11 countries outside of the US that are playing in the tournament feature 68 active or former NBA players. Now, this is an oversimplified way of looking at the caliber of these teams, because as we've seen before, having the most NBA talent on your roster does not guarantee success. But it does show just how much the world has caught up with the US in basketball. The once massive chasm that separated USA basketball from the rest of the world has been shrinking for over the last decade or so, and is now at a point where many countries can truly contend for a gold medal. As it stands, this 2024 US men's roster may be the greatest team ever assembled in terms of their accomplishments and their legacies and resumes. But when it comes to the sheer dominance they have on the court together and how good each individual player was at the time of the team's formation, the Dream Team is still the best team in the history of basketball. And with the leaps and bounds foreign players continue to make, I don't think we will ever see one single team reach this level of dominance ever again. A team that still remains the gold standard.
That's why I feel like the coaching got to change too, because Coach K was mainly coaching those teams, right? If I'm not mistaken. The 92 team and I don't know if he coached 96, I don't know. But he was coaching those teams. And it's different. And just because you recognize the names better doesn't mean the team is going to be better. Just because you see a bunch of stars and stuff on the team doesn't mean the USA team is going to play up to that standard. They're not. They're not. That's why some of the older teams has a bunch of role players on it. Like this year, we got a lot of role players. Drew Holiday. People like Drew Holiday. He's a good role player. People see what's on that team as a role player? Derek White. He's a good role player. You know, they need glue guys to go out there and do the dirty work. You know what I'm saying? That's why those old USA teams, the 08 team had like Carlos Boozer. I want to say, did they have Richard Jefferson on that team, if I'm not mistaken? Or one of them years had Richard Jefferson, like players like that on that team. Because they need those type of players to go out there and do the dirty work that don't care about getting their 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to say 2012. Had Harden on there. Harden was just a sixth man of the year. That was it. He wasn't the hard of today. So that's why he was out there. Well, plus they had a lot of injuries in 2012. I remember Dwight Howard supposed to be on the team. Blake was supposed to be on that team. There's a lot of injuries on that team. But, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. I think we should win gold. Hopefully LeBron's not the best player. He should not be the best player on the team. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last JxmyHighroller video right here. Check out another video right here. And you know what I'm saying? I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.